Hi guys, HeliGriff here. Just wanted to do a little documentation on the build of the T-Rex trucker and go through some highlights and upgrades and that sort of thing that I did on it. So I'll get the canopy popped off and we'll take a closer look. One quick modification that I did was took the Dremel tool to the canopy here and did a slight modification back here for my my key cam, and because I like it up tucked away in the canopy, and as you can see it makes a really nice low profile, and I've tested it from that angle and there's no obstructions in the front. I get a nice clear view, and on the inside it was a real simple mount, just using Velcro. I was able to lay some pads down, put a Velcro strap over the top of it, and worked out. So far it's worked out real well, and can't wait to get some good video on it here in a few weeks. Okay, let's move on to the Heli. Thought I'd start back here with the tail. Obviously you can see the black Delrin gears right here, and it's an upgrade that came out from a line, but the gears being Delrin are a little bit harder. They don't deform quite as much, but that's not the reason I did the upgrade. The reason I did the upgrade was not to get the gears, but it was to get the shaft. This shaft that's running out to the hub was originally a step down shaft. In other words, it got to the end of the hub and it was smaller, and that was a weak point. They were having some breakage with that right at the hub. So when you do the Delrin upgrade, you get a new shaft and a new hub comes in the upgrade kit. The only other thing I've done back here on the tail was the KDE tail links, which are right there. The only difference between Align's links and these links is that these are metal. Align's are plastic, and there's nothing wrong with Align's at all. They work just fine. It's just that if you have a crash situation, a lot of times the blade is turned just a little bit and it'll come up and it'll smack that link, and when it does, it cuts a notch in the link. So obviously you're going to junk the blades, but you also end up junking the link. By going with the metal link, then that way I only have to replace blades. I don't necessarily have to replace the link, so I just went ahead and upgraded it now. And as you can see, the little dot there next to the link, that dot represents this blade, which this blade's also marked with a dot. That way the blade always goes with this grip, this link, and I never get them mixed up. Once I balance the tail rotor and the blades together, they never get interchanged, so my balance stays the same all the time. Okay, we'll move up a little farther forward and take a peek at some other things. One of the most obvious changes from the factory is the tail boom, which I just had some colors made up in sign vinyl from the local print shop. They just printed this out. I wrapped the boom in it and had my logo put on it. So not a big deal, fairly inexpensive. When we take a look up here, you'll see the ESC, and I did not use the APC mount that came with the kit. I just used the ESC mount, which is the short one. Didn't put the long one in at all, and the reason is that way I could get my wires run underneath of it. I also elevated the ESC. You can see it up on 4 little stands there. They're just nylon bushings that you buy at the hardware store. Some grommets on each end, and some bolts. I think they were, I don't know, 2mm bolts, probably 10 or 12 millimeters in length, maybe longer. And the battery out leads are wrapped in carbon fiber wrap and shrink wrap, and they come on down to the EC5 connectors, which I have in here. I've got a modified EC5 connector that has a little EC2 wired onto the into that as well, and what that does is feeds the voltage information to my telemetry unit. And I'll be popping out the batteries and letting you see that that unit here in just a second. A lot of people ask about this stabilizer bolt, why it's got colors on it. And some friends of and I that build Helis, we started color coding our builds just for easy identification. So that's the only purpose of it. It just adds some color to the Heli, sort of like this shrink wrap up here, and it keeps the color theme. Moving on down here, another obvious difference is the A/B switches. And the reason I have these is because this switch controls the telemetry system and GPS. This controls the receiver batteries, which also run the servos. And they're separate battery systems. The reason I have them on switches is so that I can put the batteries in at the beginning of the day. I can plug them all in, and I don't have to unplug them after each flight. I just simply turn the switches off, and everything remains hooked up until I'm ready to fly again. And I'll be showing you the battery system here in just a second too. All right, we'll be right back with that. I pulled the two batteries out on their tray. They just remain on the tray all the time. And pulled these out just so you get a closer look at them. These are show batteries, so the leads are wrapped in carbon fiber, but I got to tell you, it's the only set that I'm going to wrap like that. The rest of them will not be. The main thing back here is the modified 12S connector. EC5's here. My little EC2 volt sensor wired in there. But other than that, it's just a straightforward 12S connector. Okay. Moving back to the Heli and getting some light on it. Delrin gears, definitely an upgrade. And it's not because I had problems with the others. My 600, I run nylon gears, the white ones. I never have any problems with them at all. But there has been some issues regarding the 800 and the factory nylon gears being a little too soft, and they deform, change shape while in flight. Also, you can see back in there I've done Delrin all the way back. So it's Delrin main gear, Delrin auto, Delrin front torque tube gears, umbrella gears, the whole bit, all the way back to the tail. Another upgrade here was the turnbuckles. I'm using Lunsford turnbuckles from the bell crank up to the swash. And the reason I use turnbuckles is there's left-hand threads on one end, right-hand threads on the other. So if I turn the turnbuckle, it either lengthens or shortens the linkage, so you can really dial in that 0-0 level swash without having to have half turns or quarter turns, or just simply having your linkage twisted a little bit. I don't like that. I like everything kept at 90 degrees. And with a turnbuckle, you have an infinite control over that. Infinite turns, just for that little itty bitty adjustment that you have to do. Okay. Moving up to the front. This Heli is stabilized with the Spectrum. Let's say AR7200BX by Spectrum, and did a nice clean wiring job on it. I have had good luck with this with the BeastX, and so this unit is a receiver with the BeastX in it. I'm looking forward to getting it out and trying it. Probably the most strange or unusual thing about this helicopter is it's got 3 RX batteries, 3 receiver batteries. Left and right power the receiver and the gyro. The middle battery powers the telemetry system. And I've got some little hidden compartments in here that I can hide wires and features, and I'm going to get this battery out and show you how it's wired up. And we're back. I was looking for a way to hide the wires behind the batteries, and what I did is I took the tail blade holder, which is right there, and the little knockouts that you remove for the blades to go through, I simply hot glued them into the nose piece, and it made a little spacer, and that way I could get some wires in there. Now the connection that you're looking at right there is my quick disconnect from the ESC throttle lead. Now this is where you hook up your Castle Link software and you program the ESC. Well, instead of having to undo my nice wires up here to pull the throttle out, right here I just simply disconnect those two plugs, plug in my Castle Link adapter and the laptop, and reprogram the ESC as I need to. And it's all tucked back away in there because of the spacer that I put in. The battery sits out here in the front and hides all the wires, so it's kind of a neat little feature. We'll spin around and take a look at the other side in just a second. Be right back.